Attention all patriots. It's time for the Signal 50 podcast, where we talk about the hard truth about today's current events.
Welcome to the Signal 50 podcast. It's January 20th, 2021, and the title of tonight's episode is And So It Begins. Bravo, how you doing tonight?
Doing as well as I can. I want to first apologize for being late. I got tied up doing some work stuff tonight, but we had to get on tonight because President, excuse me, I can't say his name, is up and running today. Great.
Yes, he is. He's got a stack of black binders on his desk, which means that some kind of nonsense is headed our way. Anyhow, I want to talk a little bit about, tonight's show. Everyone's had a tough couple of weeks, and it's been kind of an emotional roller coaster. So tonight is kind of a little bit more of a free-form show. A lot of things that I really want to talk about and go on a bit of a rant about events that have taken place over the last couple of weeks, not to mention the events at the Capitol. I really want to discuss that. There's a lot of things going on. I really want to talk about where things are headed with the coronavirus and some of the things that I've seen happen in this area, which is the NCR, the National Capital Region of the United States. That means the District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware area. I don't know what. What else?
I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room first and foremost.
Yeah.
I watched President Trump depart, and I can't say I didn't get choked up. I was upset, and then as he gave his speech, and the crowd was there. I'm sure it was limited based on space, but they were all chanting, "We love you," and all this. It was just like everything you would expect. And he gets on Air Force One with Melania, and he did it dignified, and he did it by the rule of the law. And, it just made all the naysayers, all the Democrats just look like pathetic fools, and the 85 million people that voted for President Trump. I think we all felt a connection at that moment because it was just so painful to watch. And I don't know how to explain it. It's just horrendous that this was stolen.
Well, I firmly believe that there were some shenanigans that were pulled with the election, and I think time is going to be the solvent for the bull crap. You know what I mean? And I think we're going to discover exactly what happened. Unfortunately, it will be too late to have done anything about it. What I find most disappointing when Trump said farewell today, regardless of what the Democrats or anybody says about Trump being lawless or him being this or a racist or a bigot or anything, that man was a great leader. He really was a good leader, and I think he had the people's best interest at heart for the last 4 years. He really, really did. He was not malignant. He was not divisive. He was very black and white about right and wrong. And I don't see the problem with putting America first. But I have to say, the thing that hurts me the most is all of the crap that our government pulled on him and the American people over the last, 5 years.
Well, you want to talk about collusion? There's your collusion right there. Your collusion is staring you in the face. And I'm going to say it, between the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and yes, the executive branch. I'm sure there are people inside Trump's White House who are not acting the way they should have. And they all work together to bring this man down. And his speech today, when he said, I hope he doesn't raise your taxes, but if he did, I told you so. And I chuckled because I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of I told you so's going forward.
Well, it's almost as if the man has a crystal ball, right? Okay, so
Mhm.
Biden's first thing, on their agenda is they're going to pull back the Trump tax cuts, which positively affected pretty much everybody in this country.
Mhm. Yep. What
Oh,
about
he's just giving the rich a tax cut. He gave everybody a tax cut.
Well, I guess it takes effect in 2022, 21, excuse me. So next year's taxes, not this year's, because we're all doing 2020 taxes right now.
That's right.
You go to do your 2021 taxes, buckle up. All that $3,000 on average that Americans had in their pockets, you're gonna have to give back to the government so they can give it to some stupid environmental program or whatever other cockamamie thing they want to do to
Hmm.
put their money into. It's ridiculous. I get it.
or some new voter that they just let cross the Rio Grande.
Oh, and we talked about this the other show, right, Alpha?
Yeah, we did.
They had a whole caravan coming, and they said, "No, no, no, too early. Don't come yet," because they want to pass a law. And Congress better step up, and they better not pass this thing. And I'm talking about the House of Representatives. You got a 10 seat difference, 11 seat difference, give or take, on whatever moment that you're at. And Pelosi those Democrats, the ones that consider themselves moderate, better step up and vote against this bill and kill it about this illegal alien turned, you get automatic citizenship because you've been here. So get ready. I mean, we're going to call this stuff out as we go along.
Oh, I'm laughing at you.
I know they're not.
I am so laughing at your optimism right now, and
I get it, Alpha. I'm still going to be the optimist. I mean, I know. Just laugh. You laugh it up. Go ahead, laugh it up. It's funny.
I'm going to. I'm going to absolutely laugh it up for the next 4 years, because whatever bad thing you think these people can't do next, guess what? They're going to do it, and there's no way to stop them now.
So, and this will be the comedy relief, because you'll be crying if we're not laughing about it, because it's sad.
Well, I'm afraid we're just going to have a lot to talk about over the next 4 years. I mean, it's just going to be it's a horror show. We're already talking about changing the job description of the ambassador to Israel to be the ambassador for Gaza, the Palestinians, and the West Bank. It's like, oh my God! What?
I cry foul. And during the Senate confirmation hearing, supposedly, the incoming Secretary of State, whose name I don't know, but you got to know that he's in Obama's camp or whatever was left over from that nonsense. Said that he's going to keep the embassy in Jerusalem. Is there a way to move it if they wanted to, Alpha, right now, or is there like a lease or some kind of agreement that it stays in Jerusalem for so many years?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I really hope that they do keep it there. That's been a goal for a very, very long time. I got to be honest with you. I deal with Israelis on a fairly regular basis, and let me tell you something: the Israelis really, really like Trump a lot, and their eyes are open to how bad the Democrats really are for the nation of Israel.
Mm-hmm. So
and
I'm sure,
and Jews in general.
Yeah. Well, and it's sad,
It's crazy.
being on the American side, being Jewish. I got to tell you, the way American Jews slobber all over the Democrats when they would throw you under the bus in a second to get, because they count you as a vote, is ridiculous, and it's embarrassing. I never followed that path when it came to that. Just putting it out there.
Well, do you think it would take them a second, or do you think it'd be faster?
Oh, half a second.
Wouldn't take that long.
No. A blink of an eye.
Well, anyhow, look, we have 4 years to sit here and worry about what the Biden administration is going to do, and I'm a little concerned. Actually, I'm very concerned. The country has never been more divided, and I don't look at it as Trump did this. Trump divided this country. No, I don't think he did. I think what he did, and I've said this time and time and time again, he pulled the curtain down and he showed you how the sausage was being made. And that right there turned people polarized one way or the other. Okay.
Mm.
So I don't know. I'm optimistic, right? You never want to root against the pilot of the plane that you're riding on, right?
Right.
So I only hope, and I've said it before in the past, and I'll contend this to this day, Joe Biden, like it or not, unfortunately or not, good, bad, or indifferent, is the president of the United States.
Yep. Yes. I admit it. And even during a meeting today at work, everyone was preoccupied and all excited. And you could guess who the only person was in that room that wasn't. We were supposed to be having a meeting, and everyone's eyes are glued on the television, and my stomach was turning. I just couldn't take it. I was like, I had my laptop with me, and I was doing something with figures and things like that. I just said, I can't watch this.
You were playing solitaire.
That too.
Yeah,
I
fair enough.
could not believe that they're slobbering over this, and I had to keep my mouth shut because again, we're two average American patriots who love to share and talk about current events, and God forbid we show our faces or tell us who we really are, and we'll get canceled and shut down, lose our jobs, and have to find a new place to live, like a shack in the backyard.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I've already been canceled. I told everybody that my personal Twitter account was suspended indefinitely for no apparent reason given. Maybe it's because of who I followed or some of the things I might have commented on, but I never did anything untoward. Well, maybe a little, but not terrible. Not Ayatollah.
I mean, you called out
not Ayatollah level.
Your local leaders.
I did, absolutely. They're hypocrites. They're terrible.
Well, unfortunately,
terrible
they don't like told that. They want those. If you can't give us a 5 rating out of 5 stars,
right?
Please don't fill out the survey.
Don't rate us at all. Exactly. Well, and that's fine. And I only hope that in the future that Joe Biden has. Well, first of all, I don't think he's going to be president for very long, but let's assume that he makes it for his 4 years. Let's just hope that he moderates out and he realizes that 75 or 80 or 100 million people in this country did not vote for him.
Oh, he doesn't care. They don't care either.
I'm being optimistic and hopeful. Okay,
I'm going to laugh now. It's my turn.
That's fair enough, right?
They're taking full advantage. They had these executive orders ready to go right from the get-go, and he's clueless to what he's doing. Maybe
are you kidding me? These were stacked up on Obama's desk 4 years ago. All they did was change the dates. Right.
Yeah. And we'll get into that in other shows. We'll start ripping up. We'll start. I love to rip them up. We can't, but we'll show what the executive orders were that they signed today and what we feel is how it's going to affect us. But I just wanted to bring up real quick, Alpha. I want to go back and I want to show what happened today at the inauguration. That my stomach was turning as everyone was paying attention. This was on the War Room, and you can see here. This is the Capitol and the inauguration stage here on the bottom picture, and you can see green, not just the green trees. You can see green grass.
Right,
okay? Green grass all over the place.
Yep.
And if you look in this picture up on top here shows, and I'm describing this for the podcast listeners, and we thank you for listening, everyone. If you look back at the mall, and you can the Washington Monument is back this way, and here you have a little flag, and it's all bare. No one's around.
The top picture is the view from the Capitol building, I believe. To the Washington Monument,
and on the War Room, which I do enjoy. I was, and Bannon, God bless him, President Trump gave him a commutation. He wasn't charged with anything, but he was allowed to not have to go through court battles because he calls balls and strikes very well, and calls it the way he sees it. And he was saying how where's the 85 million that you had there, Biden? Where are they? Because they're not lined up here. And don't give us this COVID stuff. You got immunizations out. It's outside. There's masks you can wear. Plenty of room to social distance, right, Alpha? I mean, there's huge amounts of space. So let's. Okay. So I just wanted this to be. This is one of those visual cues. I want
Show
everyone.
show the before picture.
Oh, you mean like when 4 years ago, 2017, when
It's like going to
President
the eye doctor. Is this better or is this better?
is this better? And here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is not a piece of grass ground to see, and it goes all the way back past. And you can argue between who had more, between Obama or President Trump. You
Well,
can tell.
I want to say a couple things about this, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Trump getting inaugurated in 16 was an insurgent candidacy.
Mhm.
He came out of nowhere and he used every bit of horsepower that he had. He hustled, he worked hard, he went out there, he talked to people, he shook hands, he had events, and he worked his ass off.
Mhm.
And he did the same thing again 4 years later. This is a 70-what-year-old man.
72.
The
73?
man never slept.
No.
The man never slept for 5 years. He was working 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Mhm.
He worked hard. Look at all the people. He was a man of the people. Yes, he was a very wealthy guy. We've talked about this before. People that I know that know him, say he's just like you and me. He's just a regular guy. He's kind, he's generous, he's friendly, he's helpful, he's approachable, he's real. He's just a regular dude with a ton of money.
Mhm.
He worked really, really hard for it. Yes, he went bankrupt a couple of times and he lost everything. You don't win big until you lose big.
Right.
That's just business.
But it's also human nature. You learn to fail.
That's right.
And you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you learn from that failure.
Absolutely.
And you say, what can I do better? How do I do this better? And I got to tell you that lesson's not being taught at all.
Right.
In
So
our schools, just as
so let me follow the thread I was on here. So
Mhm.
you look at this picture. You have probably 1.5 million people in DC for the inauguration.
Mhm.
Just regular people who wanted to see.
Anniversary of the Communist Party.
Whoa.
Its leaders are already actively preparing for a
where's that coming
major
from?
celebration.
Sorry, everyone.
So you've got 1.5 million people gathered on the National Mall to see a dude. They've seen him on TV. People know him. He's everywhere. He's been everywhere. He's just a regular guy. He's not a politician.
Mhm.
And everyone was like, you know what? Finally, a regular dude gets elected. And then switch back to the other picture.
Okay.
You have nobody there except military.
Yep.
Surrounding and guarding and protecting and keeping the people away.
Yep.
That's a little ominous, don't you think?
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Well, it's
Explain
not
to me
heartbreaking.
why this-
It's absolutely frightening to me.
Yeah. Well, explain to me, why is there so much military for something that happened that there's already evidence to show it was not, it wasn't caused by Trump. I mean, it was a story, a tall tale told by the Democrats. Someone want to explain that to me? Anyone? I don't know.
I hate to say it, but everything is a tall tale told by Democrats, and they just have a way of magnifying their message through the media and gaslighting the population of this country and the world into believing that they're right. You tell a lie enough times, tell it convincingly, and tell it repeatedly over and over and over again, and it becomes the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we've been a victim of media propaganda. It's the definition of propaganda. Goebbels would be proud.
Mm.
Speaking of which, everything that I'm hearing from the left,
Mm-hmm.
you look at this picture, there's nothing but military in our nation's capital. I live in the NCR. You couldn't go downtown yesterday and today. You can't travel. I know people that live in the city. They're basically locked up in their houses. There's military checkpoints just about on every corner. You need papers to prove where you live to travel within DC. Papers, please. This is not America.
Mm.
Now they're talking about stopping people from publishing books that they don't agree with. They're shutting down conservative speech that they don't agree with. They are planning on there's discussions about re-education programs for conservatives. This ends well, doesn't it?
How do you stop it?
You have to build a parallel universe where they don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you can really stop it,
Yep.
realistically. There are other fantasies out there that we'll talk about here in a few minutes where people had the fantasy of stopping this,
Mm-hmm.
but there was just no way of doing it for reasons. This is all very frightening, and I'm really hoping that this is just going to kind of fade back and everybody's going to come back to reality here pretty quick. I just don't see it, though.
Well, the problem is when you have control of the airwaves, like the lamestream media does, when you have the narrative, which the Democrats have, and you have a collusion between those branches of government that I spoke to at the top of the show, the deck is definitely stacked against us. And
Yeah.
many of us who are in the Trump support network, we're peace abiding. We love this country, and we all feel a little helpless. What else can we do?
It feels like the foundation that we were standing on for the last 4 years, after 8 years of ideological misery, has been eroded away by the rushing tide of insanity.
Mm.
And it's really disappointing and it's really sad. And I just don't know what to say. All I can do is be hopeful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we can't lose. I mean, again, in these times of these difficult days and weeks that we've had, Dan Bongino said it best. Says you got to get off the mat. This is a boxing match. You got to take the hits.
You got to get up.
Got to get up, and you got to deep down and the talk of a third party. Don't think about it. We don't have the numbers. You don't have the infrastructure. You don't have the financials. However, Dan did say today in his show, make sure that you primary these rhinos out. Get them out of here. And
Right.
Start at the local level and work your way up every election. And there was also talk of, Texas is already revving up to fight Biden every step of the way with lawsuits. And, maybe he was talking about a time for a national divorce, what
does that look like, though? Let's step back from the edge of the cliff here a little bit. Okay. What does that really look like?
Well, the thinking is this, Alpha, where there's such a divide right now. And Dan, and again, this all comes from Dan. I was listening to Dan today. Again, he really has a way of telling things straight and to the point, kind of the way I hope to do. And I want to give him credit and the hat tip to him because his words really, get you through these kind of tough times. But getting back, so he talked about the two, when you have circles and you try to find ground between two opposing sides of an issue. And whenever you approach the problem, and this also comes from Dennis Prager, who is a very wise man. I think of him as a philosopher. And Dennis Prager talks about the leftist, which there's no reasoning with the leftists, and there's liberals. Now, liberals and leftists kind of get lumped in the same category. Conservatives, people, and there's not really a extreme right. I mean, you can talk about being able to have a conversation with a leftist, according to Dennis Prager and Dan Bongino today. No way to do it. You can't do it. You can't reason with them. You can't talk with them. They don't want to hear you're wrong. You're a bad person with an idea. And we think, and liberals are people with bad ideas. Okay, so there's a huge, those are two different philosophies. One from Dan Bongino, one from Dennis Prager, and there's nothing, these circles that they're on opposing sides, if you have some common ground, you can kind of have this similar value system. We can talk about these issues. We can come to some kind of resolution. We can have a debate, and we're not going to cancel you. I have friends who are liberal, and we agree to disagree. I knew who they voted for. They knew who I voted for, but we have a conversation. You know what the funny thing is, Alpha? We come to some agreement on some things that we don't, we both, financially or something, but they're not looking to cancel us. Now, if you were to go down to DC right now, you can't even get there, right? Right now,
No, I can't get down there.
Can't be anywhere close to the Capitol, which is our house,
right?
No, and I want to take my daughter there and show her around. Forget it. Don't even try it. And and this is a way to talk about unity. You think you're going to get me to go down there and trust them? Forget it. No way, no how.
Well, let's talk about trust in the government, okay?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, what we have just seen unfold in our country over the last month and a half is abominable, atrocious. I'm sure that, like I said before, over time we'll discover exactly how this happened and what happened. I think we have some pretty good ideas. But let's also look at some of the misdeeds by some of these agencies, the Department of Justice, the FBI, the State Department, the CIA, the NSA. All of these agencies turned their power and focus into a political weapon to shift the tide of an election in 2016 and to harass and harangue a president for 4 years to try to paralyze him, because he wasn't the one that they wanted to win, because he was the wrench in the machine. And I hate to say it, they won. Yep. They really did.
And just as a again thinking exercise that we like to do here on the Signal 50 is get to the hard truth. Why did they have it? Because they had the media, they had the infrastructure, they had the social media in their pockets. They had China backing them. They had Soros backing them.
That's right.
And when you have money and influence,
you have power.
You get what you want. Correct?
You have power. Yeah. And what we just saw was you had a dozen people showed up for the swearing in of a president. The only people that were there were military, and it's gross.
Yep. I mean, I'll bring.
It's gross. It's just gross. It's gross.
Again, all this green space, no people there. This is not for the people. This is stepping on the people. That's what this is.
It's gross.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, we'll move on. I mean, look, we kicked that can down the road enough times. We kicked that around. Look, like I said, I work in the NCR, and my commute into the office, and we have not stopped working in the office since before coronavirus, whatever. I mean, we took some shift work to lessen the number of people in the office, and the boss was just like, this is just ridiculous. I can't run a business like this. And our business didn't stop because of some virus, so we had to come in and do our thing. My commute, normally speaking, during the times of Corona was about 15 minutes to go 16 miles, which is fantastic. You get in the car, you don't even have time to let your coffee cool off. Okay. This morning, or actually yesterday morning, apparently now that we have a new administration, Corona's over.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. All I can tell you is one of the major organizations involved with the government, everybody went from telework to you better show up. Yesterday morning, everybody was all hands on deck. So traffic was befuddled for the past 2 days. Yeah. So I think Corona's over now.
Crap. Bunch of crap. I've been saying it.
It's crap. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
It was a political weapon.
It totally was a political weapon. It's total bullshit. And they still have the screws tightened down on everybody.
So this I don't know where you want to go next, but like that stack of binders you're talking about, all those executive orders.
Sure, leftovers.
Well, here we go. So, shall we start with Biden canceling our history and promoting that 1619 BS? Well, he just canceled Trump's 1776 commission. Said promotes American founding values. So, could this kick a hornet's nest? Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe
But I'll
not.
tell you, it's from the Epic Times, and again, I don't know what to tell you.
That is the paper of record for the Signal 50 podcast.
Yep. And I'll tell you, 17 executive actions according to a press release.
Yes.
And like I said, this is painful to read. 1776 project. I mean, we're not America, we're China. Might as well just call us the United States of China, because it's,
the divided states of China.
Divided States of China. I like that.
Yeah.
That's what he's in charge of now. So there's one for you to kind of sink into. The next thing that is on the list that drives me absolutely crazy. Joe Biden issues executive order to ending the construction of the border wall. So, oh boy, and I would say this is what you voted for, but we didn't. This is what you do to cheat, to get in there and to do these things. And and I don't care anymore, because it's, we will say to a blue in the face, you're telling me that a majority of Americans want to see this end?
Well, I will tell you one thing. Anybody that wanted to see that end does not care about this country, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's leave the human factor off to the side of people that want to leave South and Central America and come here and have a better life. Okay. I got that. That's cool. Sign the freaking book. I have no issues with that.
Yeah. Come legally.
Come legally. The biggest thing that border wall was stopping was the influx of illegal drugs from South and Central America through Mexico.
Fentanyl from China.
Fentanyl, heroin, cocaine.
Stuff that kills our
ecstasy,
kids.
Things that kill Americans. Far more Americans die from the shit that comes across the border than coronavirus, but nobody wants to talk about that.
And how about human trafficking?
And human trafficking, absolutely.
Let's talk about too. All these commissions and all these lefties walking around talking about human trafficking, how bad it is, and everything else. Oh, I hope it comes out. If there's evidence out there, I hope it comes out. They're supporting that nonsense. I want their names on it, and I want them in silver bracelets.
That's another thing I want to talk about is silver bracelets. When Trump said his farewell today, I knew that everything that I've been hoping for the last 4 years, went away. And the reason why they kicked the Crossfire Hurricane investigation into overdrive was because of Russian propaganda and disinformation passed through Christopher Steele to the FBI and the CIA to distract from the fact that Hillary really committed crimes with her email server. Benghazi, a number of different things. And these people they're all going to walk. They're all going to get away with it. Unless Durham comes with something earth-shattering, which I'm kind of losing all sorts of faith in that effort.
You think that's going to really happen?
No, it's not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. I've lost all my faith in our system of justice. But let me tell you something. If you fail to pay your taxes, let me tell you something. You are going to get nailed to the wall. But these people apparently are above the law, which is very scary. Yeah, there's no good news out there, really.
No, it's not.
The only good news is it's almost Friday. Tomorrow's Friday Eve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and that's it. I just get to look forward to my weekend.
Well, like I said, we gotta keep hope against hope that a miracle happens, and you know, we I don't it's depressing when you start thinking about this. It is. I mean, it's like, what are we going to do? All the work that was done, being done in a heartbeat, just being undone by the swift movement of a pen. And the only thing that we can hope for is that all these executive orders get challenged. There was something that happened with when President Trump did it.
It was DACA.
And DACA and everything else, and went through the courts, and I think it was sustained.
Yes, it was.
Now, if Texas is already looking to try and stop these orders, and I think they're going to have a lawsuit today, maybe two.
Well, and I think that our court system is slanted so far to the left. I'm not sure that they're going to be successful. These Democrats never slept, right? They've been planning this for the 8 years Obama was in office. They were fighting Trump head on in the foreground. In the background, they were waging a different war. Okay. There's a lot of moves that were being made over the last 4 years. Yes, we have the Supreme Court for now. They're going to chuck 6 more justices on the Supreme Court. They're going to have their way. And we're never going to get rid of them. Okay. So we have a problem. I mean, the Ninth Circuit's flipped, but look at the unfavorable rulings that Trump got over the last, several weeks, even with conservative judges. The man did a lot for conservatism. He did a lot for our causes. He did a lot for this country. And I'm going to tell you something. He did everything to give Americans a better life. Everything the Democrats are going to do is to give everybody but Americans a better life. And they're going to take from you to do it. Nobody wants to stop and think about that one.
Nope.
Scary, isn't it?
It is.
Well, enough doom and gloom. We had a nice story about the world's oldest living, passing away. Celebration of a Marine's life that was 107 years old. That's a great story. I can't find any good stories.
Well, I can say that at least when President Trump arrived home today, he came home to what I consider a hero's welcome. The streets are lined up and everyone's welcoming him home, and you have to hope that he'll remain active in the Discord, in the Discord. Do you think he can? He's going to stay out of it? No way. He's not going to, like all the presidents in the past, they were trying to stay out of it and not get in the middle of it. I got to tell you, that's not going to happen now. No way, no how.
Well, they're gonna go after him both barrels ablazing. I mean, they're still going to impeach him.
And they have to. What are they going to do? Go to the Senate and just convict him? I mean, he's not.
That's exactly what I think they're planning on doing.
So unconstitutional.
Well, I get it. But.
And here's the bigger problem. So Chief Justice, who presides of this political farce, which there's no evidence. It was said in the war room, and Steve Bannon was really pushing this, that they should bring all the receipts and all the evidence and just present it all there and make the senators listen to it. But you know what the problem
doesn't matter.
That's right. Everyone has their own minds made up, and you know how they're going to vote. And you got rhinos that hate him,
right?
The President Trump. And what's going to happen? You're going to have just continued nonsense and continued BS, and there you have it.
Well, these people are just making a mockery out of our system.
Yep. Yes, they are.
They're playing a very dangerous game, and they're not going to like it someday when the shoe is on the other foot. Are they? Then they're going to cry foul.
So, yeah, I want to agree with one of our listeners who's with us right now, Mr. Doherty here. Doherty, excuse me. 1 hour after inauguration, who changes the recommendation for positive test results? I cannot agree with you more. I have been saying this since this nonsense started. I think earlier, I don't want to bore everyone again with this, how these tests work, but we all knew they were ramping up the tests for COVID so that they can run the numbers up and try to make Trump look bad. The shortages that are happening with the vaccine distribution in the blue states versus what's going on in the red states. Florida's fine. Everyone's getting their vaccine that they need. You know, they've been saying how panicked and crazy it is. New York, they've been limiting. All of a sudden, the inauguration happens, and they're opening all kinds of places, and they got all kinds of immunizations coming out, and they're all going to claim credit. And we all know where the credit really lies. So thank you, Mr. Doherty. We appreciate your comment, and they are definitely dialing down the requirements on the test so that the numbers will drop, and then everyone will go, quote, back to normal, and that will be the Democrats' gift to all of us. We fixed it. You are these Democrats.
Well, the Democrats are their philosophy is let's force a problem to happen, and then we'll come ahead and try to solve it.
Because you need government to do everything.
That's right. We don't need your government.
Well, I don't need them. Let me just tell you. Unfortunately, they need us, and they're taking advantage of it. But I appreciate that. That's a very good point.
Thanks, Doherty. Thank you for your comment and participating and listening to us. Really appreciate that. Great to have your continued support.
And there you have it. So the good news continues. If you again, the question going back to earlier, and maybe we can kind of hatch it out a little bit. What is the military doing there? You have no people there, and what's the military doing there, Alpha? Can you explain it to me? I have no idea.
I don't know. This optically, for a free republic like ours, this doesn't look good.
So
it's scary.
If we bring again, there's a lot of chatter, and again, I call it chatter, and it's data. Remember, we were talking about data the other day, Alpha.
Yes.
The data refers to bits and pieces, and you have to kind of string it along, and then you have to say, all right, so if we string this data along, can we put together enough of enough evidence to where we can come to a conclusion to act upon? That's kind of whether you're in any business that you do, any kind of job that you have, taking care of people, doing numbers, doing tax, everything has to relate to data. Okay. My argument is this: if we kind of don't want to go down any rabbit holes. We did that in one show, but let's just pretend for a second all this Q stuff and QAnon and all this other is actually true, and just let's walk this out for a second. The president, supposedly, Biden, when the incoming president is coming in, do they come in on a different type of aircraft? He came in on a private aircraft. I don't know where that came in. Did President Trump, when he first started coming on Trump Airlines, did he come in on?
I don't know.
So they're saying that this is one of the markers. They have these markers and these lines, and they're talking about operational stuff. And again, I'm not in the military, but I'm just putting the data together, and you make the decision for yourself. If anyone is to believe anything, the military presence is there because it's an illegitimate presidency. Again, he's there. He's making all these executive orders. No one seems to be stopping him. And get ready, everyone, because hold on to your pocketbooks, hunker down, buckle your seatbelts.
Yep.
And
keep your head down and pull your 401k into a money market real quick, because I think some big changes are coming.
Yep. And if you can get everything out in cash, put it into your pillowcase, you're probably better off. But
cash will probably be worthless soon, so it'll be like the Weimar Republic.
So we'll keep an eye on it. Not that there's coincidence does not mean correlation.
That's right.
So everyone understands.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about these conspiracy theories too. Let's talk a little bit about it. You so wanted to believe everything that Simon Pegg and all these guys were saying.
Oh, I will tell you.
You so wanted to believe it, and they were so convincing in the way that they presented their discussion and how they were framing everything, and you're hoping that this is all true when you know, as an adult thinking sentient human being, that this is such a long shot. It's not even possible. It's like winning the Powerball, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 1 in a billion shot that this is going to happen. But what does it tell you when 80% of the people in this country really wanted all the Q stuff to happen?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That's because that's the majority of people voted for President Trump, and those extra ballots that couldn't be vetted and could not have been connected to all the registrations that are supposed to be connected to never happened. Their votes for no, they were just made up. So which then implies that this presidency that Biden supposedly is having is made up too. How can anyone take him seriously? Problem is that he's got the button and he's in charge.
Correct. And there's nothing anybody can do about it at this point. No matter what happens.
And
no matter what comes out.
What about
still the president?
And going forward, elections. I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I got to get this out there. What happens in the elections going forward? We want to change this government, right? We don't want this anymore. We're saying no more. I want this representative, or I want this person. And you go out there and you work your heart out, and you bang on doors and you ask for their support, and people go out and vote, and the machines are all rigged against you anyway.
Right. Elections don't have any meaning anymore. If what I think happened, elections don't mean anything anymore. The will of the people has not been done if what I think happened. And where does that leave us as a republic? I think we're in a lot of trouble. We're at a crisis point if what I think happened.
And I think what happened did happen. I believe it. Can't prove it. I get it. I know it. I know. But
yep,
we're gonna.
So
there's a ball right there.
what we have is we have President Biden for the next 5 or 6 months. Then we're going to have President Harris, most probably, and God only knows what happens next. Well, the good news is now there is a bright spot here.
Mm-hmm.
There is a bright spot. The Biden-Harris administration has brought in the transsexual from Pennsylvania health commissioner that has no health experience to work in the administration. We got it covered. Everything is good now. This is the same individual that moved her parents out of the old folks home, put all the COVID patients in the old folks home, and killed thousands of people. Awesome. These are the people that are in charge.
Well,
we won't have a lack of things to talk about over the next 4 years, I'm afraid.
No, we won't.
Until they cancel us.
Well, like I said, if there are parallel outlets that we can go to, and Rumble's still there, but
how's that working for Parler?
Well,
they did a job on Parler, didn't they?
Well, they hopefully their comeuppance is coming also, because if unless they go through the courts and the courts turn a blind eye, and if that happens, there's going to be some problems because you have those two polar opposite groups of people, the right and the left. We'll just put it that way.
Yep.
And there's nothing in common. There's no common ground. There's no common value. And we're not talking. We're talking over each other. We're yelling at each other. We're trying to take each other out. And that is a dysfunctional relationship. It doesn't work. And in my opinion, that's when you have to get out the Mason-Dixon line again, or the conservative liberal line again, and Everyone has 30 days to pick up and move and go where you want and get out. And, you know,
If I were Florida, I would put up a great big beautiful wall on the Georgia line.
just,
And
Yeah.
and I would vet carefully who they let in.
yeah.
You need to have a dolphin tattoo to be admitted to Florida. Okay.
Mm.
But you know, it's insane. Well, you know, this country is really divided, and what I want to say is this: the guy standing next to you, Democrat or Republican, is still an American, and we need to always remember that.
And in that unity speech that they're talking about, which I tried to pay attention to, and it really was made me kind of sick to my stomach. This unity speech and everything else they're talking about, they're very good at speaking. They're very good at gaslighting.
Sure.
And the problem now is no one believes them. No one believes that they really want unity. They want it their way or the highway. Rules for thee, not for them.
Yep.
And as long as it's their way and you agree with it, everything's hunky dory. Well, guess what? That's not the way America works. I still believe that I have a right to say what I feel. It's not hurting anybody. We're not looking to hurt anybody. We're not advocating violence. We'll say it again and again and again. But for us to sit here and have discussion and sharing of ideas so that we can learn from each other, gosh darn it, you know, I'm still going to do it.
I'm more than willing to listen to what anything that anybody says, okay? As long as they treat my opinion with respect and I treat their opinion with respect too, okay?
Mm-hmm. But they won't. We already know that answer. Right?
Doesn't mean I'm not going to try.
I'm there with you. But until that happens, unity will never happen.
I didn't ask for these rules.
No, and again, you and I are on the same page. I'm just calling out.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Look, you know, if we're going to play by the rules, play by the rules. Stop making up the rules as you go along and stop moving the goalposts.
Wait a minute. We didn't ask for these rules.
Right. I agree.
But as long as you're playing by these rules, we'll play by the rules that you set too, okay? When you are ready to change the rules back to be reasonable, we're more than happy to do that with you.
Mm-hmm.
However, until such a time, there's just no peace with these people because they hate you. They do.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. Look what they're doing. Look what the media is doing. Look at how they're shutting down any kind of opposition speech to what they have to say. You know, listen, there's a podcast out there called the X22 Report. The guy's all over the place. He's still up on Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only place you can find the guy now. Google has deplatformed this guy.
He actually has his own private server, which you're noticing the ones that survived, the ones that had no foresight to, like Gab, like Cloud Hub. Unfortunately, Parler, great platform. We're waiting for them to come back. We can't wait. They're getting their own servers up and running, and we'll be there. We'll sign up again. We'll ask you all to come over to Parler and click on us and follow us. Follow us on Rumble. But I'll tell you, you know, you got to have your own infrastructure, and the banks are starting to do the cancel crap and everything else. And you're going to have to get your money out and vet who you're going to sponsor. And that's going to become polarized also, unfortunately.
Well, it was a long time ago that our good friend Dan Bongino said the only way to fight these people is with a parallel economy.
Mm-hmm.
Do not rely on these people. Don't trust them for anything. You have to build your own infrastructure. You're going to have to do business with your own kind of people. You're going to have to just look out for your interest in that way, because if they have an opportunity to have any leverage or upper hand on you, they'll use it to silence you. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that on the internet platforms. We're seeing that with publishers of books. We're not just burning books. We're banning the publishing of any opposition information to the Democratic Party line.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at people who want to send conservatives to reprogramming camps. We're looking at all of these people that are saying these things. Don't disbelieve what they say. They are who they say they are.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be very careful of that. And some of us out there in the world are particularly sensitive to it because of the way we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. I am seeing some very scary parallels to Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's not us.
That's not us. They call us
horrible.
fascists. I'm all about free speech. I want more speech. I don't agree with you. Fine. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's have a debate about it. Let's not just shut somebody down because you don't agree with them. I want to hear what you have to say, because if there's something that you're saying that makes sense, I want to hear it. Please. And if there's something I don't agree with, I want to debate you on it.
Yep.
In a reasonable way. These people don't want to hear it. They want to take away your right to express yourself. They have taken away your vote. They have taken away your freedom of expression. They've taken away your freedom of speech. They're controlling the information. They're putting out the propaganda through their controlled media. These are scary people doing scary things. Think about it. So the next, the next 4 years are going to be really weird, and so it begins.
And we thank you for being here with us during that time.
That's right. We'll hold on for as long as we can from the safety of the secured bunkers in our respective locations.
Yep.
And on that note, I just don't have any more good news to share tonight. We're at about 56 minutes, and it's a Wednesday night. Everybody's had a long week. I've been at work since about 5 o'clock this morning. So we're gonna wrap it up tonight.
Yes, we are.
And I just want to give a shout out to our affiliate, POF USA, POF-USA.com, makers of the finest AR-15 style rifles anywhere in the United States or the world. Made by Americans for Americans, made by Patriots for Patriots in Chandler, Arizona. So give them a look. Go to POF-USA.com on the web. Give them a check out. Give them a look. And if you're in the market for that kind of rifle, go ahead and pick one up. Buy with confidence. Great piece of equipment.
And thanks, everyone, for hanging in there. I was running a little late from work tonight, so I appreciate you all hanging in there with us. If you have any comments, you want us to talk about something, you want us to look into something, you want us to bring up your idea, we'll hold your name back if you ask, or you let us know. But we're looking for some input. So give us a shout out at an email at info@signal50.com. That's info@signal50.com. Check out our website, signal50.com. And I'll be posting some thoughts, what we call them post show commentaries. That's because I find that if you want to go into the deep weeds with me, that's an easier way to do it than listen to me drone on here. Right now we're still on Rumble, and thank goodness for Rumble. I think they have their own servers. They've withstood the storm a little bit. We also we're still on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, along with Audible.
Yep. For now until they cancel us again.
Yeah, you know what? That's all right, because
it is all right. And on that note, folks, make sure to visit our website at signal50.com. You can find us there. You can go to get links to all the videos and all the podcasts there, and some of the pieces that we do write. Bravo and I write pieces from time to time there. We post them in the commentary section. And on that note, I'd like to thank our soldiers, sailors, and airmen for protecting us 24/7, 365. And for our police, for our law enforcement, firefighters, and medical first responders that are out there fighting the good fight every single day in a neighborhood near you, risking their lives for not a whole lot of pay. You see them in a coffee shop, buy them a coffee, buy them a donut, take good care of these people. When they're holding the boot out, that means they're trying to help somebody. So you know what? Pry your wallet open, give them a couple of bucks. It'll make you feel good. It'll make them feel good. It might save somebody's life. So on that note, we're out of here.
All right. I'm cueing the music. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Good night, everybody.
We'll catch you on Sunday.
Catch you.
Again, thanks for listening. This is the end of our Signal 50 transmission.